Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Hopefully everyone's having a good Sunday night, Easter Sunday or Easter weekend. Hello, everybody. We're going to start stream now, though. Today we have Olivia on, who some of you people might know from GMK Olivia, and Via. Like I said before, Olivia, Via. Wait, this is wrong too. Via. There you guys go.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Nice. I didn't set it up. My bad. Actually,
Wait,
thanks
it's
for
not
the tier
called
1.
Via? It's not called Via?
No, I mean, can we get confirmation from Olivia herself?
It doesn't come from Via.
Okay, there we go. How is everyone doing though? Olivia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking.
Perfect. Did you did you do anything for Easter? I know it's like still kind of lockdown everywhere.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize it was Easter. I went to FedEx. I was about to drop off a package, and then I was so confused while all the lights were off.
Oh, is it actually closed there today? Oh.
I was trying to ship.
I didn't realize.
Really
So I didn't even know
sad.
we had the Friday off here in Canada until Thursday afternoon, and we had meetings planned because I'm not too sure if the States has Friday off or I don't know. Like I guess everywhere's different.
Good Friday is what they call. Yeah.
I don't know. It was like Good Friday or something, and then we didn't show up to work, and then I was getting emails on Friday going like, "Alex, are you coming to this meeting?" I was like, "No, we're off." So that was pretty nice. Happy Sunday to you guys as well. Good Friday isn't a federal holiday. I have no idea, guys. Thank you, Little Boy Blue, for the 100 bits, and Bessa for the Prime. Appreciate you guys. So, Reagan Chase, how are you guys doing?
Doing
Pretty
good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
You guys
Yeah,
do anything?
how about
Just
you?
got home.
I just been working today, honestly. There's not much to do today. I mean, like, kind of like what Olivia said too. I mean, it's not really. First of all, I kind of forgot, and second of all, it's just, we're in lockdown number 3 here. So, yeah, you know. So Olivia, questions for. Let's start with some keyboard stuff first, if you don't mind. What got you into the hobby? I don't think I've ever actually asked you that.
Coming into the hobby.
Yeah.
I think the OG beam spring. I think the Pyrosan's video a long time ago about his beam spring keyboard review. That sound and like him chronicling the history of that. That was really interesting to me. Because before that, I was interested in typewriters, and like,
Oh, okay.
apparently the beam spring was designed to sort of mimic the same sound profile as like the Selectric typewriters, and those ones were like really cool in itself too. But yeah, beam springs were really cool, and then I found Desk Authority, and then eventually after I got sick of vintage keyboards,
Have you gotten back into vintage keyboards at all or no?
nah, vintage keyboards is, I don't know. It's interesting, but it's sort of like, I guess, going to a museum. Like
Yeah,
if you go
yeah.
enough, like you eventually run out of things because it's just finite, I guess. But
Yeah.
like I think non-vintage keyboards are very interesting because there's like always room to develop, and like there's always new things coming out and places to like sort of invest creativity, right? I think
Yeah.
vintage keyboards also are very tied to sort of like accuracy and like preservation, and sort of like freezing things in time, which is in itself is really beautiful, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I think like letting things like develop and like new things are always fun as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they actually even someone asked, can you use vintage keyboards on a daily basis, or is it just collectible? I mean, like, you can use anything vintage on a daily basis. There's going to be obviously the whole thing where, kind of like what Olivia was saying too, it's like some people preserve them, some people use them. I think a lot of times with like older anything, like collectibles especially, you'll find the majority of people tend to preserve. It's kind of like old hockey cards. I don't think anyone's playing or doing anything with old hockey cards. I think the majority of people are just preserving them. Man, the hotel room's
just you.
looking spruced up. Yeah, Reagan's Reagan's hotel room's looking real spruced up, dude. I'm gonna use vintage doorknobs for opening. There you go. I mean, like, that's different though. Come on, guys. That's just different. Come on. But that's really cool though. So how long ago did you get into the hobby then?
Shit, it was about 4 years ago.
Okay,
It
so
was
it's still-
slightly
yeah.
before I joined my new job. I remember I went to onboarding in San Francisco because the main headquarters is there, and I managed to I found this one person. He literally bought, what are they called? Like those garage auctions when someone dies. And then they sort of auction off those garage stuff.
Those like
Storage Wars.
Storage
type thing?
Wars type
Storage
thing.
Wars. Yeah. So like there was like in like some subreddit, some like really like small subreddit, basically someone had bought one of those storages, and it was just full of these vintage computers, like just like a whole like wall of them, of like old TI computers and like a bunch of random shit. I remember there was 2 beam springs in one of the photos, and I spent like so long. I spent weeks talking to this guy trying to convince him, and he like refused to send it over. So I had to like fly over and get him to drive to San Francisco, so then we can take it to FedEx so we can ship it all the way over. Yeah, but that was at the same time my onboarding week for my new job as well.
Oh my
so,
god, that sounds
yeah,
very sleepless.
it was kind of stressful at the same time, but it was really fun as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I still have like, it came with the monitor as well, which is like literally 80 pounds, and I still haven't unboxed it because I haven't figured out what to do with it.
Oh, you still have
This
it?
giant thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And in the box too, Chase.
And in the box, yeah.
We actually have some questions.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
sorry, Olivia, go on.
Sorry. No, I used a keyboard before.
Yeah.
Just the monitor itself is just.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's the monitor. There's better monitors now, anyways. So some people are asking questions too, saying what kept you in the hobby throughout the years.
So that's a great question. I think originally, after I sort of got sick of vintage keyboards, or like rather got bored of them, I found the Top Clack channel, and that was sort of like when Top Clack was like the only thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sort of got into Discord, which was like their Discord at the time, which was like one of the very few places aside from the MechKB Discord. And then from there, I sort of had a friend group I'd always talk to, and that's pretty much what kept me for a couple of years, just like specifically those people, because like you have people that you want to talk about with the keyboards, but then you like get to know them more, and then they just become like part of your social group, and you hang around and you also talk about keyboards. In addition to that, and play games. I like got into FPS because of that group. I never touched an FPS before then, and I think after that I sort of got peer pressured into designing a GMK set, a key set, and that sort of kept me in for a while. Like, I don't know, it's really nice because like my normal job is something very, very structured, and something where like you basically end up making things people tell you to make, and there's really no room for creativity, and you're sort of very, very pigeonholed in what you do.
That's the thing, yeah. And that's the thing. I totally agree with you there. Like you end up becoming so like it's like layered and structured, and it feels like it kills creativity sometimes.
Exactly. But then at the same time, if you have like these pockets of like areas that have like unlimited creativity, where like literally you get to control everything you want to do, like key set design or keyboard design or like these sorts of things. I have a friend that's like super into pottery, who also works at the same company, and she just spends her weekends doing pottery as well. But having that ability to sort of control every aspect of it, and make things sort of to your satisfaction, rather than having to worry about deadlines and corporate bullshit stuff. Yeah, I think that sort of is very precious, and like you don't often get those kind of things, from what I can tell.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's true with any, even when like just building a keyboard, like you get to do it on your own time, and it's very
Absolutely.
relaxing in that sense. But you made a good point too with like, and I know I think a lot of people in chat can also agree with, and I know me and Reagan and Chase can also agree with too. It's like one of the big things that keeps me coming back is the community and friends I've made. And like I always say, like keyboards nowadays for me, like they're fun. Don't get me wrong, I love keyboards, but being able to talk with people about keyboards is way more fun. You know?
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
like that for sure.
Yeah.
Also, someone asked before, are those rose gold headphones? Yes, guys, it's confirmed.
They're
They are
the
rose
Apple
gold.
AirPods Pro Max.
Yeah.
What
Rose
other
gold.
color would it be?
Yeah. What other color, truthfully, guys?
Mm-hmm.
So someone also asked a question being, and I want you to answer this maybe later because I want to ask you a question before this being, what do you like more, your Olivia light bass or dark bass? But I guess what inspired Olivia, GMK Olivia?
What inspired GMK Olivia? I think I spoke about this before in other contexts, but basically, when I started getting into group buys, I ended up like focusing basically on rose gold keyboards, sort of as a combination of like trying to find things that look different, at the same time trying to like control how much I spend every month, because like it's obviously easy to just go nuts and like try and join every single group buy, which I did for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my limiting factor, because at the time there was like so little rose gold keyboards, and then after that I sort of had to buy every key set I thought would work. And there was only like I think 5 or 6 at the time different key sets that were like even slightly pink or like neutral or something you could sort of pair with that. And then after that I sort of was frustrated, and because of that I sort of was inspired to create like a key set that I wanted to pair with mine. And like the idea was I could just buy a bunch of it, and then I'd sort of have unlimited like keypads to like pair with my keyboard, which was a terrible idea.
No, I think that's
As a
great, to be honest. Unlimited key sets.
Unlimited key sets. Yeah.
Well,
I have a huge like giant box of like just Olivia plus key sets.
Yeah, you
So
just
I was
walk
gonna
into
ask-
another
Buffer.
walk into
I was
another
gonna
room
ask-
and you go in there, it's like just a big stack of GMK Olivia.
I was gonna ask, do you know how many sets you have acquired on the? I guess what is it? 2 runs now that have gone.
On the 2 runs, I think I have like 40 base sets ish.
That's not bad.
Because I got
Hey,
like 15.
At least you know
like,
she at least
dark.
stocked up for 40 keyboards.
Well, I mean, that was the goal from the get-go too, right? Like she accomplished her goal. That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it was good because I didn't have to buy any of them because I just used my profits to purchase them. I just
There you
stuck
go.
to the
Yeah.
profits and like
And you made probably one of the most recognizable Keycap sets in the hobby. So there you go. Bonus
Yeah.
points.
There you
Olivia
go.
was the first key set I ever typed on, like GMK, and this is like
oh my god.
in 2019. Someone from the Texas Discord came over to my house and brought, I think it was an M60A with GMK Olivia on it, and I was like, holy crap, this is so nice. And,
Was it the Dusk M60A? Was it like the reddish purplish one?
mm,
Do you remember?
I don't. That's like a detail of it I don't remember. I have a picture of it somewhere. I took a picture next to my crappy keyboard at the time, but
Mhm.
it was very, very nice, and I have liked the set ever since then.
Wait, this was at the meetup again?
No, this is at my house. This is some
Okay,
guy
okay.
who like literally came to my house when I was like brand new to the community with a 6 or 7 pound keyboard, and I was like, what the heck? Mine is like 2 ounces, not metal.
Reagan pulls out his phone. He's like, I got this keyboard right here. So to kind of ask, I want to get back into keycaps a little bit later too, but I want to ask one big thing. So I think a lot of us know that, you know, when it comes to buying these keyboards, one feature that a lot of us look for now is it VIA compatible? And I know I've spoke to you about this, but I also want to let you know that I think a lot of people really appreciate the work that you've put into VIA. You know, I've met people who, quite frankly, don't even want to use QMK because they don't even want to understand it. So you've truthfully made the hobby more accessible. to people, who want to buy a keyboard, don't necessarily know how to use QMK.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. Sorry, Rick.
No, I was gonna say, I'm sure that like a lot of people don't even know, like they don't correlate Via to you, like Olivia.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people don't know that you're behind that.
Yeah, it's
So, fun fact for those
fun
who
fact
don't know.
for everyone who doesn't know. But it's been such a huge thing in the hobby, and it's one of those things where it's like, even me, like I remember I had to load up QMK 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like dreading the fact that I even had to load it up. I was like, grumbling and stuff. I was like, can I just not use VO for this? But it's been such a great thing, and honestly, I think a lot of people in chat can even agree that it's one of those things that I guess I even lean on. Like, it just makes things easier. So first of all, thank you, and second of all, what inspired you to kind of, well, obviously GMK Olivia inspired you to the rose gold stuff, but was there anything that like brought you up to that point of making Via, I guess, that you wanted to touch on or talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess prior to this, the backstory I think started off was like, I didn't know Wilba previously, but at the time I got a CA66 from the first group I round, and I forgot to sort of insulate the stabilizers, and because of that, it actually burnt out the MCU. So it started smoking, and it was completely useless. And I was sort of freaked out because, like, first of all, it was a China group buy, so I didn't know who I could bug to get more PCBs. But I was running Olivia at the time, and I was working with Kate from RamaWorks about the keycaps. I was asking her help, and she sort of recommended me to Wilba. And from there, like, Wilba and I sort of became friends. And this was also, at the time, they weren't sure like how they were going to program the M60A per se. And he knew I was like a web programmer by trade, and he sort of brought up the idea of potentially like trying to create like some sort of GUI application to like configure your keyboard, because at the time they had something for the M10A, if you remember that, but it was like really bad, and the original developer of that sort of ghosted them after they made the application. So they sort of wanted that thing, and I was sort of like, well, I already like was friends with Wilba at that point, and it would be cool to do something together with him. And that's, I think, sort of the impetus of the whole thing. It was just like, it was a cool project to do with friends. And I also hate flashing keyboards, and I like program as my work, and like I just hate it so much that like I could instantly see the value of it. And yeah, it seemed like it was like the right combination of like, I hadn't done it before, so it was like appealing because it looked new and challenging, and like I knew it was going to be helpful to other people and to myself. And immensely. It was also something like, there's something special, I think, about being able to work with friends on projects, because like it's fun to like play games with friends as well, but like doing cool shit with people that you care about is like such a unique and fantastic experience. Like, I'm sure you guys can understand because you have a show that you all do together, and like that's just like such a cool thing to sort of share and have that experience with. And I sort of really treasure those things, and I think that was sort of like the combination of characteristics that led me to create Via.
Which is awesome. Really cool. Actually, I didn't even know that. And,
that's
I
a
have
really
conversations
cool story
regularly, so I did not know that. That's really cool, though. Honestly, and like, you make a good point. Doing things with friends, and this even goes back to the other thing we just talked about too, like community, friends. It's a very fun feeling. Like I feel like even when me, Reagan, and Chase do the show, it's like we're just broing out sometimes, for real. But it's really cool to do things with friends, and then when it comes to fruition, it's like everyone can be happy and proud of the work that everyone's put in, for sure. That's really cool. But thank you again for the work. Like, honestly, I hope chat can agree with me that I don't think I can express enough how much that program means to a lot of people in this community.
It's
Like,
such a
it's-
buzzword now too for
Yeah.
like keyboards. Like, it's definitely like something you include in the description of
Yeah.
like any keyboard is like, yes, it's compatible.
Yeah, it's
And yeah,
definitely
that's
something.
that's like such an honor, honestly, to like be considered like valuable enough by like so many people in the community.
An
To, like,
innovator.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, at the time, like, right, everyone like prior to this hobby probably have like used like gaming keyboards for the most part, and like all of those keyboards have that kind of software. You never have to compile QMK or something to like
Yep.
flash your N Pro or your Razor, Black Widow. So at the time, I thought I wasn't doing anything super crazy, and I was just trying to like make a much better version. But yeah, it sort of pained me that that was like a huge gap that didn't exist at that time, which sort of made sense why that was. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I wasn't doing anything like super crazy. But at the same time, the fact that people like it and like really appreciate it is like very meaningful. Like when people, I can't express like how much it means to me when people tell me like they like the things I make, because like it's just like so valuable to hear other people say that. People don't say it enough to other people in the world, I think.
No, honestly, like
It just,
the kindness part kind of gets missed sometimes. It's weird.
yeah, it's something I don't ever like take for granted.
Hmm.
Because like yeah,
Yeah.
you don't really hear it when you work because they're paying you. But like if people say that like out of their own volition for no reason, like it just is such a great gift to receive.
Yeah, I'm lucky to get a hello at work in the morning, you know?
I feel that.
Just to get back to work type thing. But if you guys had questions for Olivia as well in chat, I know there was one before asking if there's going to be an Olivia round 3. Yep, there it is. That I don't know. So Olivia, I don't know if that's even something you can talk about or if there's something that's in the works.
So I think a couple things. So R3, I think GMK Olivia will definitely happen. In the meantime, there might be different, I think, versions of like that colorway also happening.
Ooh.
I think there might be like a very limited, like special run of it in a very like new material, I guess one would
Ooh.
say for keycaps.
Pog,
yeah,
dude.
something that
Big
you wouldn't get from
pog.
TRJTK or
Oh.
CAT or that sort of thing. So that I'm really excited about. But at the same time, there's a couple things that are sort of factoring into that decision. One, first of all, I understand that people are very frustrated by the current market prices of Olivia++, and I really want to fix that. So I want to also offer like a version that people are able to sort of like have a lot of stock of and be able to constantly sell it to people, and people able to like not have to like hand over so much money in order to like put it on their keyboards. But at the same time, I also want to satisfy the people that appreciate like what GMK is doing and like the level of quality they represent. I sort of want to handle both of those price points. So there will be a GMK R3 for sure, and I think there will be some sort of dye sub version or something to that effect as well in the future. I want to like handle both of those, and I haven't sort of figured out like the order of these things, but these things will definitely happen because obviously I don't. It doesn't make me happy when people can't get what they want, because they just get mad at me. So it's way easier just to give people what they want to do.
That's a good point too. Like the designers, I don't know why designers catch slack when like for market prices. Like it's not like the designer decided to be.
Fault,
yeah,
Alex.
it's all the design. Ow, just hit my elbow. Better question though. I'm gonna go into another question really quick before I forget it. The real question is GMK Olive. When's that coming back?
Yeah. So I also want to do actually. So this is probably worth maybe leaking. but I am gonna do like a dye sub olive,
Oh,
and I'm
dude,
using that to
I
sort
think you're
of
getting rated right now.
do like the first baby steps towards seeing if I can also apply that to Olivia. But I'm gonna definitely do reruns of that as well. I guess like one thing to note is that at the same time, there's multiple things I want to do, and those things are not also involving like Olivia and Olive, because as a designer or as a creator, I think anyone can relate to the fact that like you don't want to do most of the times like the same thing over and over and over again. You want to do new things because it sort of feels more creatively stimulating. Else you just sort of feel like a one-hit wonder or something to that effect. So I want to make new things as well. But yeah, I want to like make Olive again. I want to do Olivia again. There's lots of things I want to keep doing, and I want to do new things. I definitely want to make something like a periphery, if not like a keyboard, but something of that style in the nearby future as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's much more I want to contribute.
Exciting.
I guess. Yeah.
Is it going to follow the same naming scheme? Sorry to cut you off, Reagan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try my best.
It has to at this point.
I ran out of puns with Olivia, Via, and Lana. But
the first 3 letters. Just use the first 3 letters this time.
Would it be like Ollie? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I might just
GMK
mix
Ollie.
them up as well or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I am also open to suggestions if anyone wants to give me ideas for potential future names.
There you guys go. Maybe we can do that one day. We can think of we can do a naming scheme day. There you go.
Somebody in the chat said live as well. Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
And by the way, thank you, Dee Klein, for the raid. I appreciate you. Sorry, I just didn't want to cut Olivia off. Thank you. Hope your stream went well. Appreciate you being here. We got a lot of GMK Avilo, GMK Yup, or Via Yup. Yup. Why? Actually, that's a great question. So why he?
So, I guess. So for context, like I've had like friends in university, because my university had a lot of exchange students. So I've had like groups of many people, and like one of the things I learned when hanging around French people was that they spell their like laugh with like he instead of like he. And I always thought that was like a very cute way of like writing that laughing, because sort of like he with he sounds sort of like he, which sort of sounds more sarcastic. And then I sort of like the ambiguity as well of like he or hi, and it's just like a very, I think, like aesthetically pleasing.
It is. No, it really is. Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny that it sort of stuck and became sort of like what as part of like the Olivia branding in a way. It was not at all intentional, obviously. It was just like a random thing. I added, and then it sort of just stuck.
Sometimes the most
the
random
two heart
things
too, right?
Yeah, the 2 heart as well.
Yeah. The 2 heart is also like super random. It was a
What
typo,
was that?
literally.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So in the Top Clack Discord, they used to make fun of me a lot, because like I used to lurk a lot on the internet. I never really like wrote anything. I didn't spend time on forums or IRC or those things. I lurked a lot, but I used to like write things really, I guess, like naively, I suppose. And people would always screen cap them and like post them to make me feel embarrassed later, and like, like the unfortunate things like a girl might say, like with certain nouns and adjectives. And then like lesson 2 was like something people also memed on, because I accidentally hit the 2 key instead of the 3 key, and then people would always like do that to sort of poke fun at me. So it's sort of like a fun like tease, and then sort of lived on as well in that. So I sort of wanted to, while I was making the key set, because I was influenced, or sort of like that impetus came from that community, I wanted to show like how much I appreciated what how their like involvement in the whole project. I want to make a reference to them, so I sort of included in that way, and that's sort of how it started originally.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of things I did, it's all just like referring to like specific people or specific places or specific like groups of people, and like that's like everything is just based off you relating to other people, I think.
I like that.
It's really cool, yeah.
I like that you did a keycap set. I mean, named after yourself, and took so many parts of like your experience with people, like different groups of people that kind of shaped you. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Originally, it wasn't going to be called Olivia as well. I think I came up with some weird abstract name, for it. But at the same time, they also were the ones that told me I should call it GMK Olivia, because it should be called me because I have so much of me and like my personality infused in it. And at the same time, I thought I was gonna get a lot of flack, I think, for putting my own name. But at the time, I didn't realize that no one would ever think that there was a person called Olivia that made GMK Olivia. I didn't realize that was such a huge stretch to make. So I think in that sense, I was sort of protected because that's not the thing that comes to people's minds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. For a while, I didn't know that there was a person associated with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, hidden in plain sight, that whole ideology, I guess. It's like, it's right there. The information's literally right in front of you.
I mean, I figured it was inspired after a person, possibly, but I guess I just didn't know that you just, I don't know, that somebody had just put so much of themselves into their design and their key. That's really cool.
Well, I'm a very unoriginal person, so I take inspiration from everything else.
But I think in a way that does make you original, right?
I suppose,
Yeah.
in the way that art is everything,
Yeah.
and everything can be art. Yeah.
Yeah, your experiences are art,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's why, you know, we tell everyone we can't really judge anyone's decision on something, obviously a good decision and not a stupid decision, but because we don't know their experiences in life. And it's nice telling a story. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like romanticism in creativity.
Yes.
And like it's really easy,
Oh,
I
thank
think,
you, dude.
to forget about that aspect if you're not creating it yourself. But especially if you're like a person like me with like a lot of imposter syndrome, like
Yeah.
the act of creating something and showing it to other people is like one of the scariest things I think you can do as a person.
Yeah.
It was terrifying to write that original Keycap post for myself and like the Reddit posts, because I thought it was gonna bomb, and R1 arguably did not do very well at all.
How was like the consumers' feedback at the time, like on that original Geek Hack
Oh
thread?
my god. Yeah, they're all about why are there accent space bars? Why is there no ISO? Blah blah blah. Why is the kits obviously not disparaging anyone. This is sort of just like my own like internal like way to calm myself down. But I did two weird things, I think, with the way I originally structured the kits. Because back in the day, like things were very different. And group buys were very, very much a function of like making sure 250 people could buy it. And at the time, like finding 250 people to buy something would involve like a lot of like
You had to really sell it.
you had to really, really, really sell it or do something different. So I tried to do a bunch of things different and include that. And my idea was like, well, if I ended up creating a base kit that could have enough like of it to sort of support enough keyboards, that would make it as cheap as possible. And then I can sort of just like also, in order to like make sure the extension kit would have enough people to sort of purchase it so it would get to production, I just put everything else into there. So I could sort of bring like all the ISO people and all like the Nordy people and all these things together. And that was my argument for creating just 2 kits rather than like 5 different kits.
So you would say you got some some pushback on like the decisions that you made then, right? It's so weird to me, you know, because I have a creative, I think a lot of people in keyboards do have creative backgrounds, and it's so weird seeing pushback on like new ideas in creativity. Especially when it's things that like, instead of like saying, okay, well, this is different, you know, how can this work? It's just immediately like, this doesn't follow the formula we've been using, XXXX, we don't want any of this stuff. That's like the weirdest thing to me. And that's one thing that me personally that I mean, like, I think maybe lately we've been seeing a mix of it here and there, but it definitely hasn't gone away. And that's one thing that, you know, I'd like the voice to keep time and time again is just, we shouldn't push back creativity. If something obviously doesn't look good, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to vote for it with your wallet. But we shouldn't push back creativity. If we start doing that, innovation's gonna die. You know? So.
Yeah. I think especially in the beginning, I don't want to sound like too much of like an OG because to be fair, the hobby started like 4 years before I was probably in. It was much developed by the time I jumped in. But I think in the beginning, when it's a small hobby, you have such a small set of people, and those sets of people will basically come up with like a generalized idea of what they like and value. And then new people come in because it's such a small group, they sort of get assimilated into the same ideas of the group, and it sort of has to hit like a critical mass of people where you can sort of have like a splinter of like different groups of people with different thoughts. But at the time, like, it was very, very much like, you do it this way, you have to have like alphas, you need to have like dark modifiers, you can't have accent spacebars. There's such thing as accent spacebars back then. Even accent enters was a bit weird. And
now
so
it's the standard.
Like Dolch or Honeywell. That was it. So yeah, it was very, very structured and very, very set in a certain way. And if you did anything that was like against it, you got a lot of pushback because like people think and act in the way that is consistent with their worldview. And when things sort of challenge that, people react in either not so great ways or like in difficult ways, I think. And sort of creativity will naturally, I think, create things that can extend past that worldview.
Yeah, I agree. So, you know, after Olivia ran the first time, before I guess Olivia Plus Plus ran, seeing those base kits on Mech Market for like, what was it getting up to? Like $400+ in some cases?
Yeah. That was such a weird experience.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's a take back, right?
Yeah, that's a take back. Like at the time, like I didn't remember any GMK kits being that expensive.
No.
I used to like spend like $300 for KA 2017, and I remember spending like $280, and I was like, oh my god, that's the most money I've ever spent on a GMK set.
Yeah.
And like the idea that it's sort of like 400 or 500 or 600 nowadays is just crazy to me.
Well, we're seeing things like on aftermarket prices, which is a whole nother discussion, but we're seeing things like even Jane collector's editions go for like $3,000 plus. You know?
Yeah, that's also weird. Like OTDs, which were like considered like the hypest of hype, were like at the most like $2,000, $1,500, and now like if you have an Alice, you can flip it for $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah,
which is just insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that person who, obviously, the reason you know, people sell it for that much is going to be a buyer, but it's so crazy to look at. And with that being said, small little announcement for you guys: don't buy shit you guys can't afford. All right,
yes.
Be financially responsible. Just because it seems cool and you guys want it in $6K and that's all your rent money for the next 2 months, don't do it. That's just stupid. Be financially responsible, please.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I set a Siri reminder to remember to join Olivia Plus Plus, and it did not go off.
I obviously wasn't even in the hobby too, Reagan, so I did the same thing for Olivia Plus Plus.
I have to get in on the R3, and I will set all the reminders to get into that one.
I do that so often, though, man. I feel you there. I set reminders, and I just forget to buy things. I bought Olivia Plus Dark. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
because I wasn't around for Olivia the first run of it. And then I was like, damn it, now I want light base. Should have gotten both.
Should get both.
I do have both now, though.
Yeah, I was really surprised how well the dark turned out.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see this other special thing you have planned now with round 3.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I think if I can give a hint, it's going to basically, I think, bring back some of my interest in vintage keyboards.
Ooh.
It's going to be sort of a reference to that. Hopefully.
Ooh.
And it's yeah. I wanted to do it for R2 originally, but we just didn't have enough time to sort of make it happen. But yeah, this time I think I'll be able to sort of leave room to sort of make that happen.
All right, chat. So now we know what to look out for.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now we know. CRP Olivia? That'd be interesting. But CRP sets, I don't know how that would work. I don't really know too much about the CRP, I guess, how like turnaround times, anything like that. I have no idea. That'd
And
be
like
definitely interesting.
they're die subs, so like they also don't do like the reverse die sub.
Yeah.
So the colors would be very hard to do, I think.
Yeah. Any chance for a enter R2 pretty please, says Kobe.
Enter R2.
Oh, the Rama cap for it, I guess, rather.
I don't think Rama runs R2 caps.
Yeah. So that's something that I think is I've learned, I think, this year, is they don't run R2 anymore caps. I think they might have in the past, but with that given, I would have to do something different, I think.
Oh.
But
I didn't even know that.
that doesn't necessarily mean there can't be like R2 enter caps. They would just have to be different. And I like doing different things anyway.
Yep. Jenny Bear TV says, "Oh my God, Olivia, I'm so glad you're being interviewed on the Keebcast. I think you have such a great taste, and I literally brought multiple kits of hi or he to cover the F-rows. But what is your favorite Keycap set of 2021, or something that you're looking forward to?"
Caps of 2021 are I'm looking forward to. I think in terms of what I'm looking forward to, I think Thermal Plus. I know what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to GMK Zuyin.
Okay.
I was actually in communications with the designer of that set, and I was planning to use the sub-legends he was working on for a set that would have happened earlier this year, but the timing didn't work out, so hopefully it'll happen next year. But I really want those sub-legends to sort of be produced so that it'll be actually reasonable to sort of produce in the future. So I'm really excited for that, just because like it's so odd to me that like we have like Arabic sub-legends, Greek sub-legends, Japanese sub-legends, Korean sub-legends, but no like Chinese sub-legends. So like sort of seeing more different types of sub-legends is really exciting for me, because like double shots always cost so much money. So it's always like a really, I think, interesting big thing if they create different ones, because like the amount of money you have to spend, especially if they're alpha sub-legends, is just like so huge, because like there's a lot of alpha keycaps to pay for, a lot of molds to pay for, and like because of that you can sort of like you have like a whole new palette, I think, of things to sort of reach for.
Which is fun. Which is fun that we're seeing so many different things too.
Yeah.
And that kind of leans back on. I like that we're doing different things and people are changing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really nice feeling. But you know what, Chase?
Yes.
Do you want to ask our question?
I do. So we ask this question every week, and it kind of gets phrased differently every week, but I'll try to say it the best way I can. What is something right now in the community as a whole that you're really excited for and you're excited to see how it pans out? And then on the opposite end, what is something that you're kind of scared of how it's going to pan out, or like something that is kind of worrisome right now for you within the community itself?
I know it's a toughie.
So I think I sort of answered the first part. I'm really excited about the Thermal Plus.
Yep.
And also excited about, yeah, I think I have the original Thermal, and I think that's just such a great sounding keyboard. And like the leaf springs itself is like really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So like being able to have like a rose gold version is just super, super bomb for me. What I'm worried about, sort of is, I think seeing more and more flipping, seeing more and more, I guess like there seems to be more drama, I guess,
Yeah.
as of late. And I guess like that happens when you have more personalities come on, but it's definitely changed in a way. And I've definitely seen like, you have like, instead of just like one channel of toxic people, you just have like plenty of different regions of toxicity, and seeing that sort of grow is worrying to me, because it's definitely changed from what I sort of looked at the keyboard community as when I started, because it like used to be super wholesome, aside from like literally like a group of like 10 or 20 people, and now it's sort of exploded in that way. But sort of, yeah, I guess like seeing it grow in a way where people are sort of becoming less friendly to each other, and sort of more like standoffish or adversarial is something I'm worried about, I guess. And I think
it's
it might
definitely something to be worried about.
it
too.
should improve. It should improve.
sure.
And I think it's just like a growing pain.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's one thing that we constantly, I think we bring this up once every other week here on Keebcast too, and I know I talk about it a lot too. It's, you know, I find a lot of people who end up coming into keyboards or have come into keyboards, they've found this like ground which they want to stand on, and they want to like oddly protect it, like they think it needs protecting, and they just kind of like slash away at anyone else who tries to get closer, like also wants to stand on this ground and enjoy what they're enjoying, which is weird. But I think it also has like some, you know, some traits of they want to be looked at as important or special for what they're doing. But you know, that's why I'll tell you guys again in chat, and everyone else too, it's be the change you guys want to see, obviously. Good changes, not bad changes. I always have to remind everyone about that. There's no reason to gatekeep, or there's no reason to tell people what their decisions are stupid. A lot of this, like actually the best quote I can give you guys is the one that I've told you guys a million times, is for a community based off of preference, we sure don't like to let other people have their own. So we should definitely think about that for sure. You know,
That's
That's
funny.
a really good quote.
yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
Sad truth. It is a little bit. Badsy says, "Find me a more wholesome dude." Thanks, Badsy. I appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah, and like the first time I ever went to your, I guess, Twitch stream, Alex, I remember, I think it must have been APRA Keyboards. That sort of, yeah, it was like she had rated you, and I remember I entered that one time, and I just remember being so shocked at like how wholesome your stream was, and like how kind you were, and like
I remember that day too, Olivia. That day there, because I say the word "dude" in like every sentence. I've watched Marcia like prior to that like 2 or 3 times, and it was like my 4th fucking stream, and people are like, I was like, "Oh, thanks, dude," and everyone's like, "She's not a dude." I'm like, "Can you guys relax like 2 seconds, please? Just how I talk, please." But I remember that it was so embarrassing, dude.
So embarrassing, dude.
Yeah, just how I talk. Like I don't. It's
You instinctually just say,
You need
dude.
like a dude novelty for your next set, Alex.
I don't know. That'd be, no.
I-
But thank you, Olivia.
of course.
Yeah, it's just one of my. It's like a like, what do they call parasite words? That's like ingrained to everything that I say. GMK dude, please.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Look, even that says dude. Even my sub thing says thank you, dude.
Oh,
Thank you. I appreciate you, Stompy. Appreciate it, my guy. Yeah, and my guy, that's what I say a lot too.
That's what I have you saved as in my phone,
Just dude?
dude.
I have you as Space Cables, aka Reagan, aka Spoosy Boy. It's a really long
Have me
mouthful.
as you have the word space cables under my contact in your phone.
Yeah, Space
I'm,
Cables,
like, really
aka
offended.
Reagan, aka Spoosy Boy. That way there I can say any one of those words to see. I'm not going to say it out loud because then she'll activate. I can say any one of those words to the Apple person, and then they know.
The Apple dude.
The Apple dude. Did she activate actually? No, she's good. Dude, it's been happening so much with. I'm not even going to say the name. I'll in passing say it, and these new iPhones like pick it up from 14 miles away. Like, what do you need?
Dude,
I got you.
what's funny is when you like FaceTime me, I think it's like your really, really old Instagram picture for some reason is like my contact for you. And
Yeah.
it just says dude is FaceTiming you. And it's just like that picture of you that's like,
My white hair.
yeah, the
Yeah.
photography, like the very nice portrait. It's
Yeah.
just, it's so funny every time you
My
call.
my picture for Reagan's contact is the original Space Cables logo.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
I tried to
First.
forget about that. Actually, I threw all those original stickers. I even chopped
I
off on originals. Reagan sent. I have an original invoice. It was invoice number 4. I was Reagan's 4th customer. I actually went ahead and chopped off the old logo, so I didn't have to look at it.
It's a good choice.
Sorry, Reagan.
No, that's okay.
But thank you again, Olivia, for answering all these. Do you guys have any questions for Olivia, by the way? Before we ask some more stuff or just chit chat a little bit more.
I wanted
What was
to
the
ask
OG logo? I'm joking, by the way, guys. It wasn't that bad. It was just like a world with a cable around it.
It was terrible is what it was.
that one.
I had like
This one.
commissioned somebody. Oh, there it is. Yeah, look, I had commissioned someone. This was back like 2 days after I bought a domain for the website. And then they made it, and I was like, okay.
It's
Then
pretty awful.
we've gotten to this argument, and he didn't let me like edit anything. And then Alex was like, in literally 3 minutes flat, created my current logo, like 2 years ago.
Yeah. He jumped in and called. He's like, I need a logo. I'm like, all right, got you. We got some questions for Olivia, though, saying, what's your favorite TV show to binge watch?
My favorite TV show to binge watch.
We were talking
I
about
think-
this right before.
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I'm watching this new anime, I think this season called Jobless Reincarnation. Yeah, it's really good. It's surprisingly good. There's some very tropey things that happen,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
as I understand, like this is like the OG that's inspired all those tropes. So I'm a little forgiving in that sense because it was one of the original isekais.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Oh.
Mm.
I think, like when I think isekai, I think Sword Art Online.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like manga, manga, I think
Yeah.
it was precursor to that. But yeah, I really like that show. What have I watched recently? I don't know. I binge watch so much shows. I need to find something to start watching. I think on HBO these days because I think a couple stuff have ended recently.
I just finished watching that. Oh God, I'm not gonna remember the name. Oh, Snowpiercer. Well, I'm almost. Yeah, no, I just
Oh,
finished watching the
wait.
2nd season of that.
Wait, they made a TV show? For
Yeah,
that?
it's on Netflix.
What?
There's 2 seasons. It's actually pretty good.
No way.
It's like
That's so great.
it's like loosely based off the movie, I believe.
I've seen the movie, but I haven't watched the show.
Pretty good. I like the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
do
really
it.
like the movie.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
the
It was really
movie.
good.
Yeah.
People are also asking, do you have any future plans for Via?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Ho 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 ho.
Yes. So, actually, I ended up going on vacation a couple weeks ago, and I meant to get like a whole bunch of stuff done for Via, But then someone introduced me to Horizon Zero Dawn. I lost like a weekend on it.
It's a fun game.
It is such a fun game, and I had never heard about it until just now. And like, oh my god, I appreciate it. But yeah, there's been a lot of work done on VIA that's started literally last year. But that stuff that will be done is, I think, it's like gonna be a new version of VIA in terms of like a 2 to a 3. It's gonna just be like so many new things, and importantly, it's gonna be something that will, I think, allow people to have more flexibility, which is what we've seen a lot. Like,
Yes.
since VIA started, people started using rotary encoders. People started using a bunch of stuff we never imagined prior to the creation, and we want to support those things. So it's very, very important, I guess, that we want to add a system to allow people to basically program keyboards, regardless of how we imagine them to be.
Which
And
is going to be so much fun.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Even more than keyboards,
Yeah.
potentially.
Ooh, potentially
Yeah.
more than keyboards?
Mm-hmm.
Guess we have
Yeah.
to keep an eye out on VIA.
Chozo asked if you could call it Via plus plus.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'm gonna write this down. That's a really
Chozo.
good idea.
There you go. Good Chozo.
Chozo's going to like put
Hooray.
Pepe Happy in the chat now.
Yeah. Oh, and like, I think something that I'm really gonna add is we'll start supporting other key sets themes in VIA. So I'm thinking
Ooh.
that maybe we can like change it every month or something to like support like a set.
Oh, that's
of
really
the
cool.
month.
Yeah.
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 Because I really wanted to do for April Fool's Day this year, but I didn't have enough time. I wanted to do Handerbite just
Oh
for
my
that
God.
day. Next year I promise to do something like that. But yeah, I'm thinking that we can start configuring it because looking at Olivia Dark can get a bit old.
Never.
So yeah, it'd
Come
be
on.
nice to also like show like new exciting stuff that other people can sort of potentially contribute to.
That's
Yeah.
so exciting.
Yeah. I really just want to like keep adding things that the community wants. So if there's anything frustrating that you experience on a daily basis, feel free to like reach out to me or Wilba, or else. I think Merlin might be a good person to reach out to, but we are always looking, I guess, for suggestions and like new features to add. And the feedback that we get really is important to us because like we don't get paid for this. Like literally the reason why we keep working on this is just to support the community. And like
Wholesome.
that's how we make it better, is like literally the community tells us what to do.
Can we get some hearts in chat, please, for Olivia?
Oh,
Please, some hearts in chat. Thank you, guys. Or you can put the little less than 2 sign. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. There we go. Thank you, Olivia, again for all the stuff that you do. Seriously, I don't know if you know how much it means to a lot of people. Again, like,
it means a lot for me to hear you say that as well.
I can tell
And
you a
it
story
means
too. Like
it-
one time, I was helping a friend with the keyboard, and she's like, "Well," I told her, I'm like, because she plays a lot of video games and she changes her macros a lot and changes like her keyboard load. I'm like, "Well, you're gonna have to load up QMK if you want this particular keyboard." And she's like, "I don't want that." So then I'm like, "Well, we also have this keyboard, which you said was like ugly. The keyboard was," and then she's like, "Does this one here have it?" I'm like, "Well, this one here has a program called VIA." I showed her, and she's like, "Give me this one here." So she prioritized her purchase just because it was supported by VIA. So
God.
it's a big thing. A lot of people like that. 'Cause a lot of people don't know. I mean, like even me, like I told you, I hate loading up QMK. Absolutely fucking hate it.
Via is a selling point at this point. It has become a selling point.
It's like right next to the word gasket mount. It's like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really happy Gasket Mount came out.
me too.
It was
I like it a
yeah.
lot. There's a lot of questions, by the way, in chat, guys. I'm sorry if I don't read all of them. Maybe we'll have to get Olivia on another time. Maybe we can get Olivia and Wilba on very,
That'd be
very
super
soon.
cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I got another question that's not Via related.
Yeah.
How was it working on the NK65 Olivia edition?
Good question too.
Oh my god, it was such a fun experience. Working with Mike is always so great. And like when he told me about the potential to do something like this, it was just super exciting because I'd always wanted. Because at that point, like I've done like keycaps, I've done switches, I've done even stabilizers. Last thing basically is like a PCB and like a keyboard. So the idea that I could like offer something through Mike, through Novel Keys, an integrated experience that I could finally like recommend to like friends and family, to people that like have no idea how to program. That seemed so awesome to me, that I just had sort of to jump at the chance. And like, I'm sure no one will ever tell you anything different, but working with Mike is just such a joy. Like, he's such a great, like, awesome person, and he's not the kind of person that will sort of force you to really compromise on the things you want. In terms of like, it took us like 3 different samples to dial in like the switch color, because like specifically those like clear housings, to do like that perfect like rose color for the switch was really, really tricky. It took a lot of experimentation, and like this is just something like people will probably not even notice until they take off their keycap, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's that level of like understanding on his part is just so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I really, every time I have a chance to work with Mike, I'm always like very excited to, because he's just such a great vendor to work with.
Yep.
That's what I hear a lot.
To be fair, he's the only vendor I worked with, so he's like the top one as well. But he's just so great.
No, that's a good thing, to be honest. Like, having good people and good vendors, and knowing that they're good vendors, and knowing that, you know, their ethics as a company extends also to a human being is a great thing.
And
really
Mike
puts a lot of confidence.
He was doing such cool stuff. Like he really cares about the community. He cares about. I know he was trying to like apply for grants when he was trying to get like his own novel pro key set created.
Yep.
He was applying through government grants, sort of, so he could like potentially have like people local also be involved in producing these things. Like he just really is like such a wholesome and awesome guy. In everything he does. And like, it's, if you ever meet him, like you can instantly tell he's just one of those like really, really awesome people.
I don't know if I'll be able to leave Canada anytime soon, Olivia. We're on round 3 of COVID here.
R3.
We're COVID R3 here. COVID
I'm
plus
getting
plus
my
plus.
vaccination tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah, the first round.
I don't know when that's happening for Canada. Probably never at this
Dude,
point
just
here.
fly to New York. And
Yes.
we can sneak
Just
you
take
in.
me under your wing. Be like, can you give this guy
Yeah.
a vaccination,
Get an extra
please?
shot.
Can we split it?
Yeah. Can get a couple off the van.
Yeah.
Off the van.
Well, can you hook us up? You got any extras? I'll pay aftermarket prices.
Oh my god. The
Oh my
extras
God.
though, they cost so much.
Yeah. But someone also asked, where is it here? Question for Olivia: what was your experience with programming / creating programs before creating Via?
So prior to programming, okay. I've basically, prior to making Via, I only worked on like websites and web applications. I went to school for mathematics, so I ended up learning web development like by myself, and sort of just grew that knowledge. And I think part of the allure of creating Via was being able to create a desktop application. I've like played with a whole bunch of languages prior to that as well, but yeah, mostly web development, mostly JavaScript and TypeScript and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think another cool thing I think about like the state of things is if you have that knowledge, you can create desktop applications now. It's not so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the world of like the internet too, and knowledge that you can get from that is crazy. So
Yeah, because like the fact that you don't have to go to university, you
Yeah.
can just go to a boot camp and like you can learn like 60% of the things you need to do to be a software engineer is just crazy to me. You can't do that for mathematics. There's no mathematics boot camp. There's no like chemical engineering boot camp or like bioengineering or structural engineering. Like such a thing does not exist. So I think it's like so cool that you can sort of like learn such like a huge chunk of knowledge. Like obviously you still need to like have some like really structural computer science fundamentals, I think, to be a good engineer. But there's just so much knowledge you can acquire by yourself, and that's like such a cool thing, I think.
a lot of
about
companies look for, I notice a lot of companies still look for the whole like degree or piece of paper that says you can do something for sure. So that part is definitely important. I know even with my job, like I've hit a restriction because I don't have pieces of paper that says I can do things, so I have to go get those pieces of paper now. But you know, there's definitely a lot you can learn yourself. I mean, like even the arts and creativity and stuff. I know a lot of people go for school for that stuff, and you can learn fundamentals, but I feel like you learn a lot by just knowing the fundamentals and then experimenting to find your style. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do, tons. Is GMK Olivia based off Olivia in the stream? Says Droid. Yes. And Via and Olive and a bunch of other cool things that we'll see in the future.
Via plus plus.
Yeah, Via plus plus plus. Someone said you should do every iteration, like every update of Via just gets an extra plus.
Oh god.
That would get exhausting after a while. It'd be like, hey guys, we're on Via plus 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 plus. Where's my thing? God damn it! I don't know where this thing is. Plus plus.
Oh, thank you, dude.
It's broken. My bad. I didn't set this one here up. Rusty, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Rusty also asked before, is there any way that he can help support Via?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I hope I can like have a better answer to that in the future. Right now, I think the things that are basically like the only costs for Via these days is like we have like hosting costs, and like I want to be able to start signing the applications. So technically that means like if you like try and open the Via application the first time, like Windows or Mac OS will tell you like this is like an unidentified program. It might be malicious, blah blah blah. Like especially for people that are just starting out on the hobby, like that's pretty scary.
Oh yes,
And,
that is
like,
true. Yeah.
It's super scary, and like especially for people not even used to computers. Like I was trying to get my mom last night to sort of like program her keyboard, and she was so confused. So like that's like literally like a huge cost because like it's a monopoly. In that
How much does
industry,
that cost
obviously.
out of curiosity?
So for Mac OS, it's actually pretty reasonable. You just need to have a developer license, which is $100 a year.
Okay.
For
Yeah, it's not
Windows, it's $300 a year.
Oh, so that does add up.
Yeah, so it's like $400 a year plus hosting, which is like $20 like a month. So that's like
Hosting, if you guys don't know in chat, by the way, hosting adds up quick.
yeah.
And the more traffic you have, the better server you need. So,
Yeah.
for example, if there's a hot keyboard coming out one day and everyone suddenly needs to go download a version of Via, you know, that, and if, you know, for example, if there's not good hosting, that could bring down the website. Reagan knows that very well.
Don't
Right,
use
Megan?
WordPress. Yes.
Don't use WordPress.
Hey, I feel attacked. I use WordPress.
Well, you're good, Alex. You don't have
Yeah.
like the like.
Reagan
Saying my
was getting
website
attacked.
sucks.
Reagan
Yeah,
was
Reagan was
getting
actually getting attacked like every other day. God damn, dude.
I guess to finish the answer to the question.
Thank you, Code
like,
Coffee Code.
For now, like the best way you could help support is just let us know if like you want anything else, or if there's anything that's like really bugging you right now about the application that we can use to improve. Because like that stuff we're always gonna need. We're always gonna need feedback and suggestions. And trust us that we like care deeply about every single message we get about it.
Yeah. People are saying please donation button. Maybe
Okay. I will add one. I will write this down.
Sure, write this
God
down.
damn, dude.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for the
Thank you.
subs. Ecstasy and Code Coffee Code. Thank you so much for the 10 gifties each, dude. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. And before WordPress developer, you know what? I love WordPress, so everyone can eat my shorts, dude.
Okay,
Dude.
buddy. I was spending like $4,800 a year on
Yeah,
a
I
server,
remember
and it would
this.
still crash every time I would do a product release. And
Thank you,
then
Ash Cubes. I
Shopify
appreciate you
DM'd
guys.
me.
Boomer much? Come on, guys. I turned 30 in a few months. You guys can call me Boomer then, all right? Leave me alone. I'm 29. I'm going to actually stay 29. I actually canceled my birthday this year. We're not doing it. So I'm staying 29 now, all right? Shopify for the win? Shopify is good. I like Shopify.
Shopify is for the win.
Yeah. How do you achieve such a status as manly as you putting a man filter in your face did nothing? Tim, we need to figure out why that filter did nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, he showed us that picture.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
He showed us the cursed picture.
That was an awesome picture. Huru was looking kind of nice.
I think we're gonna start our own band soon, our own like group. Chozo, thank you so much for the tier 1. I appreciate you guys. Miss Apiary says, Olivia, I like your key plush.
Thank you. I also have the panda plush over there. If you can
Oh, there's a
see.
whole bunch of plushies.
There's a whole bunch of plushies. But yeah, I was looking for the olive plush and the Gatoron plush as well, but I can't find them.
Oh no,
So
they ran
maybe
away.
someone took them. Maybe they ran away from me. Maybe they're getting their COVID shot or something.
Yeah. They're trying to smuggle me a shot, you know. I hired them. Reagan, check Alex's Discord. No.
Check Alex's Discord.
Is there currently a way of doing custom multicolors in RGB? Wait, is there currently any way of doing custom multicolors for RGB on VS? Is Jugs? Not really sure what you mean by that. Do you mean like?
Oh, I can sort of answer that
Okay.
question if I understand it properly. I think the question might be for certain lighting effects.
Maybe, yeah.
Like there can be multiple colors, and it's a restriction on QMK specifically that they only allow you to select one color. For Wilba's boards, he has his own code to allow you to select 2 colors. So things like the HS60, which is Yankar's PCBs, and
God.
maybe Canon keys. If they do RGB, they might support 2 colors because they use Wilba's code. But the regular QMK code is so silly. They're like, they let you choose one color and then they just like invert that color, and that's their second color. Which is like, I think is ridiculous.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a
So
lot
the
of
answer
options.
is like, yes, but you have to buy a different PCB.
Oh,
Chuck Death
Which
says
is-
plans for
yeah.
tap dance on VIA.
Ooh, tap dance on VIA. Okay. Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. We'll have to figure out how we would expose that configuration. Because right now, like, obviously, it's something that you'd have to like add a specific menu for.
I did see that question pop up a few times now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. To be fair, like a lot of like what is there is inspired by what I use my keyboard for and what Wilba uses keyboard for. But
Yeah.
over time, we sort of expanded that to include more and more stuff. So tap dancing, well, I think will also have to be included.
And do you mind, Olivia, because I only know a little bit about.
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining what tap dance is to everyone?
thank you,
Yeah.
because I'm lost.
So it's a specific QMK feature, I think, based on if you hold it versus if you tap it. So if you hold the key, it'll output a different character versus if you tap it. So that way you're able to use things like the control key to like either, is it the shift key or the control key? Or the caps lock key. So if you hit the caps lock key, and you don't hit anything else, it'll do the caps lock character, right? It'll switch that. But if you hit like caps lock T, then it'll be like control T, in a way. So it allows you to use like one key to do different things depending on if you're holding it or not. Does that make sense?
Does, yeah. APR Keyboards asks, was VIA ever meant to be open to everyone to use?
So originally, because it was just Wilba and I, he wanted it for the M60. So originally it was gonna be just for the RamaWorks products, because it was gonna be for his PCBs, and he was working only for RamaWorks, at the time. So originally, like, we hadn't thought of an idea on how to sort of expand it to include everyone else. Basically, like, the architecture to support every keyboard available on QMK versus just like a specific manufacturer's is very different. So the original intentions was no. And that sort of also influenced the decision of like why we originally didn't have source code for it. That being like, it was also just gonna be like something that only like worked for Rama boards. So like, why would you need the code? But at the same time, because we saw like how much people really responded to that and how much people like really wanted to add their boards to that, we evolved, I guess, or we evolved VIA to sort of suit that purpose instead. And that's precisely why I think the feedback we get and like the suggestions we get like mean so much, because like if there weren't people asking for that at the beginning, it could have potentially just forever been like working only for Rama products. But because people like specifically told us that they wanted it, we were able to change it. And that's literally the only reason why it really changed. And that's why it's so important to get this information from people.
So there you guys go. If you guys, the big thing I guess is if you guys have not like, you know, crazy things, but if you guys see things that you feel like, you know, you want to voice up, definitely, like Olivia said earlier, you can message her. But feedback is always important, you know. That's what a lot of how a lot of improving happens as well.
Absolutely.
But Marcy has another question. How much work is being kept up? Well, when I read too fast, I tend to miss words. How much work is it keeping up with helping everyone with their boards with VIA?
So there's multiple things involved in helping everyone with their boards. There's specifically the work involved in adding new keyboards to VIA. Right now, Wilba does the brunt of that work, and it's just Wilba. So because of that, like, we ended up having like backlogs because he was also having like real life stuff to worry about. And like he has to like review each of the contributions and make sure that it's like compatible. So like that work takes like more than just like an hour per board. And like right now, I think VIA has over 500 keyboards. So like imagine like that just keeps multiplying, and we get new ones every single day, and people keep making more keyboards. So like just that active work just to add the new keyboards into VIA is like a huge chunk of time. Then on top of that, there's the work to like fix ongoing bugs that people report to us. And then at the same time, there's work where people are just like literally asking like, how come when I plug in like my keyboard with this cable, it doesn't work? Or like, how come when I plug in with my USB port or my USB hub, it doesn't work? And like sometimes these things are like have specific reasons why, and they don't know why, so we have to tell them. But like that work also to respond to those things,
the support
is also,
even though it's a
like,
free program.
Exactly. So like you can imagine that there's just like a lot of work just to support and maintain it, and not even like add stuff to that. So it's like it's a lot of work, which I definitely not had suspected.
I don't know. I feel like it's valuable enough to be a paid program, but the fact that it's not is awesome. However, I think you should add some way for people to contribute and donate to that.
Yeah, I think so. It's just, I think there's definitely a certain, I think, expectation as well with some people, because they're used to QMK also being free. We might get pushback against that, but I think exposing like some form of like maybe asking for donations.
It's like one of those things. I don't know if you've ever been on those like some websites. They say like, "Yo, it's free, but if you'd like, you can add $1 or something."
Yeah.
Because like
I don't like the ad. Yeah. I don't like the idea of adding ads.
Yeah.
Like,
no, ads would suck for sure. Yeah. As
Because like yeah, I really care about like user experience as well. So I wouldn't want to do anything where like I'd want to.
We'll
like,
make it
sell
look like a
user data
virus.
Or like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that would be incredibly crappy. And
Yeah.
like, I'm definitely not using Via, as like a way to sort of make a living. I don't think that's a sustainable model. I think potentially a future model might be that you would end up like being able to like use profits from your own keyboard lines to sort of support it. And we're also thinking potentially of like working with vendors, for example, to sort of like have them be sponsors in a way.
Yeah.
And sort of have like a reoccurring revenue from that. But yeah, I think we're trying to look at like a good approach that won't be too much to ask from the people who use it, because we don't want to like charge people, because we don't think like we don't deserve money just because like we make it. And even if it's useful, like I never want to like actively prevent people from using it unless they pay us money.
Yes.
I feel like that's a terrible model, but I definitely want a way to sort of like be able to support people as well, because we've had people like helping from like all over the world.
Yep.
And like those people also like need like their own stuff. They need PCBs to be able to test the software on, and there's just like a whole bunch of costs that we need to figure out a way to sort of be able to support.
Well,
without
I would
having
be
to come out. Mhm.
I would be down to sponsor it, because I mean, even I
Yeah.
have 2 boards that are on Via. I don't know if Wilbo was the one to add them or not, but I would be interested in that, helping you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. I think we should talk more about this. I really would want, I guess, like a way to not ask for too much, but still be able to support everything.
Yeah.
Because
You know, like we were saying too earlier, Olivia, it's a program that many people, you know, I'd even say rely on, you know, to get things done on their keyboards, to test their keyboards. I don't even go online anymore. I just use the keyboard tester inside that. So it's a very, very influential program. You're a very influential person in the keyboard hobby. You've done a lot of good, positive things in that regard alone. So I think everyone in chat can agree. I think all of us thank you. Thank you very much for all the work that you've done. Because I certainly would have not been sane doing QMK stuff and all that stuff all this time.
Well, thank you, and like everyone also in chat. Like it's going too fast that I can read it, but at the same time, I just want you all to know that I appreciate all of you, and I like appreciate just like the fact that I can like share a spot, I guess, in this community of like makers and like people and consumers and like just like people that are all united by like a shared love of keyboards. Like that's just such a privilege to really have.
I agree.
think. Yeah.
And thank you for the Matrix specifically.
Really?
Such an awesome feature.
I love that. I personally
nice.
like
Such
that.
an
Wilma thought it
awesome-
was stupid, but
What?
I
The first time
Yeah.
I was doing like, first of all, so I've been using Via now since maybe 20, I don't know, it's been a long time. And I'd always just use the regular key tester, and then I forget who it was told me like in 2020 was like, use the Matrix function, and I was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah. By the way, Chozo made a poll. I'm just looking at it now, and it's just all less than 2 hearts. So if you guys want to vote on Chozo's poll, thank you, Ashkeeps. I appreciate your points. But last question before because we're at our hour and 30 mark here. Last question was, someone asked, can we get more sounds in Via? They said specifically
Are there
clacks.
sounds?
You know when you like test the
Yeah,
keys.
in the
you can-
keyboard tester.
Yeah.
There's
Oh.
key sounds.
Maybe
you
I
tried
have.
it?
I don't think so.
I
You've
feel
never
like
tried
you can
that?
make these things default. Yes.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really fun.
It's
It's really
fun.
nice. Yeah, it's fun.
And like the modifiers make different sounds.
Yeah,
You can play music.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice. Sometimes I just do that at night when I'm bored. I just turn on Via.
Really?
No. I'm usually watching anime. All right, guys, that was our looks like less than 2-1. Surprising Chozo. That was our Keebcast with Olivia. I should have called this Keebcast plus plus. That was, someone said that before, and that would have been such a great idea. But obviously, I'm too stupid.
You just got to do Olivia R2 for the next time she comes.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do for next time. But thank you again so much, Olivia, for coming on today. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, Reagan. Thank you, and Chozo. Oh, Chozo, you too. Thank you for being here, and everyone in chat. And Chase, listen, they both start with CH. It's not my fault. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's see who we can raid. Did you have any last things you want to bring up, Olivia?
Just thank you so much for having me. Of course, I think there was something I saw on Reddit recently. I'm not sure if we have time, but
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I just wanted. So this was like the one controversial thing that I was wondering if it was going to be brought up or not.
Sure.
Because the person was actually told to like come on here and ask that question. But basically, someone made a wooden cap with like an enter key with like who written on it in the same like font.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know like if they could like do like a buy for that. And I wasn't sure, I guess, like how I should feel about that. I think there's like a line. Perhaps if you've seen that. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't actually seen
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah, it's probably I would have brought it up if I even knew. But
Yeah.
let's see. Chozo, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for running that poll.
Anyways, but I think in the future, like if people ask me this kind of thing, like there is like a certain line between like originality, and like inspiration.
Yeah.
And it's definitely my preference to make sure that people are always making new things versus sort of like remixes, in my opinion, because I feel like more new things is generally better for the world.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but
So is it the same font and it just said something different?
Yeah,
I feel
it
like
just says HU instead of like HI.
Oh.
I feel like that's people trying
Oh,
to
I found it.
capture the same audience that you've already captivated in your own artwork.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, I've never seen this.
I posted in the general. Here we go. So yeah, maybe you guys can let me know what you think of it as well.
Let me go take a quick peek. I think with me, I don't know how everyone else feels. With me, if something's like if it's derived from something like directly, like it's that line that you're just essentially taking someone else's idea and then adding like a very, let's see how much of a twist this is. Yeah, this is not really.
That's literally.
See, and I think with this too, it's kind of like, but what inspired you, this person here, to do to just put that with the same typeface? You know, like what would be, if this was a personal thing, like by all means. But like,
And
what
it looks
inspired?
fantastic. Just like say the work on it looks great, and it's a great looking product. Yeah, it just.
I can't go. Can someone link it? One of you guys link it in chat, because I can't click off of you guys or your faces disappear.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and if you look at like the person's profile history, they actually have some really cool stuff. Like they have like this like sort of like wave looking image that looks like Japanese inspired, and they can obviously do really cool stuff. So it's sort of I guess like if they're putting so much effort into creating things, I feel like they just have so many different ways to express it, and they don't need to sort of like have to
use your
sort of
stuff.
use that.
Yeah, because that's even the same. Like, I mean, from what it appears, anyways, like the same typeface. Like, instead of
I
eyes,
personally
it'd
would not be
U's.
okay with it. If GMK Olivia was mine, I would not be okay with it.
But it sort of bugs me to sort of say no.
Well, it puts you in an
Totally.
awkward position because you either have to be like an ass to someone, like you think you're being an ass, but really you're not.
Yeah.
And they're putting you in an awkward position, is what it is, right? So like, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't have a problem with telling someone, you know, it doesn't really make me comfortable.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, too, like from I guess from a business side of thing too, like creativity and stuff aside. And by the way, chat, really quick, please no one go spam this guy with like negative stuff. He obviously asked, which is super cool of him.
The
So
work
yeah,
is
let's not
do
fantastic too.
That's actually
Yeah.
great progress from what people have done in the past with like
Yeah.
just doing stuff and running group buys and
Yeah.
fake key sets and all that. So
So I think my
Not a bad
opinion
thing.
on that would be like from a business side of things too, like not creativity side. Like that person would be essentially profiting off of, the fan base that you've created in this case.
that's
here.
what I'm saying. Yeah, they're trying to get captivate the audience that you
Yeah.
have already achieved.
Yeah.
Like that's their demographic is your audience. So
And-
I don't
and
know.
That,
I mean,
that type of thing also, Reagan. Like, and this is kind of where that blurred line comes in, because the next part of that is fan art. Essentially, is the same thing where people are like profiting off of like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and all these other, like
that
what's
I hear
big
you.
and
So
popular.
that's such like a that uses like okay scale theory. That's like a drop in the bucket compared to our like super small community. Like I agree with you.
But it
that,
will be
yeah,
brought up, and that's why I'm asking you, like,
Yeah, I would
where's that
think
blur,
that,
right?
like Olivia is not Nintendo. Like she's not this trillion bajillion dollar corporation. Like this
Not
is
that we
like
know of.
affecting. Like someone might not buy
If I
an
wish.
R3 intercap in the future because they have like a wooden cap.
Well,
Yeah.
and that begs my second question too. Like my second part of this is, we're a small. I mean, like I still think there's like a core tight knit, part of what the keyboard hobby is. So I think it's super cool that this person's asking for sure. Me personally, I wouldn't be. I'd feel kind of weird saying yes about that. But I don't think you should feel bad for saying no or anything like that.
No, 'cause it also,
you
like-
put your own work into that. So
I'm sure it'd feel weird to like come back and be like try to meet him in the middle and be like, well, what about a royalty? Because like that's even almost like weird feeling. I bet.
Yeah, because I definitely don't want to like make it like a situation where like, oh, I'm gonna hold your product hostage unless you like pay me protection
Yeah.
money or something weird like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And Lava brings up a really good point too. This is an amazing point by Lava Flow TV. Is people could mistakenly associate the new cap with Olivia, like Olivia running this and Olivia endorsing this product, and if it doesn't turn out great, that could tarnish your name. So I totally agree with that as well.
That reason alone should be the grounds for your decision of whether or not you want to. And then there are all the other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's going to be a lot, and I think for everyone listening to, like when it comes to creative things and stuff like this, there's going to be a lot of people who might see something really cool. And again, we'll use anime for an example because I feel like the anime fan base is just like crazy for creating fan art and profiting off of fan art and stuff like that. Like Reagan said, we're definitely at a scale thing, and I know we can use that argument of like, well, Nintendo and yada 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 and IP and
We're all
yada
small
yada yada.
artists, yeah.
I think there's like a difference between a small artist being able to put food on the table and a giant corporation like that. But kudos to Lava Flow again for that point, because that's another great point too.
It's a very good.
But this is why again we have these discussions on Keebcast and we bring up these points because it's good hearing everyone's point, because I'm not the smartest person in the room because I can barely read, but that has nothing to do with it.
Thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Olivia. Thank you for like allowing like I
Yeah.
guess us and the like people here to kind of talk about that subject, because I do feel like that's a really unique situation, and for you as well. I know that was just I don't know if that really was a like what should I do with this, but I mean that's what it kind of seemed like. And
Yeah, no. I'm really actually not sure what to do with
You're like, I needed help. This was a legitimate. It was a question.
It's a
Well,
really helpful conversation.
Yeah, and to dial that back one step too, it's like I see so many, we'll use Olivia for an example here, like Olivia themed, like straight Olivia themed, like desk pads with like sometimes the word Olivia in it, or I'll see something like I don't know, someone made an Olivia themed something or other, and use the word Olivia. So I guess what are your thoughts on that?
I think like I view it as if it's something close enough to be mistaken as something I would make, then it sort of feels like it's treading on the same ground.
Yeah.
And that's when I started feeling uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
I think if it's like potentially something completely different, like a different like art style or like a different font choice or a different like color scheme maybe, it could be interesting.
What
to-
if, like, okay,
Yeah.
so key set aside, other
Mhm.
peripherals. People are using. I know everyone has the argument of no one owns colors. Okay, whatever. But if someone is using your color palette that you used with your name on it for whatever item, whether it's a key set, a keyboard, whatever.
I think if they call it Olivia, that's too close.
Yeah.
It could potentially be very, especially if it's like the combination of Olivia and a colorway, even if it's like on an umbrella. I think like that is close that someone might think that, oh, that's me doing that.
Yeah.
And to your point, like especially if it like turns out as like a flop, or like if the person ends up scamming people, like if that's something that would like
Might be
people
like
would
association,
look
yeah.
for, yeah, like that's
Okay.
a bad situation for me.
So what about
Okay,
like
so-
artisans that run with the Olivia colorway?
Mhm. I think that's actually a really, really, really good point, because
Because we see a lot of that.
I've done literally like 2 collaborations. One was with Tiny, and the Tuxes, and she did that sort of as a favor for me. And the other was CYSM caps, which was the olive foods, which are so freaking cute. Oh my goodness! But aside from that, like any of the other like Olivia color artisans are just completely like, I guess, other people wanting to do that, and I think that's super cool, because I think like artisans are like
Enough of it's handmade.
it's
Yeah.
handmade, and like it's obviously done as like a direct like, it's not taking away from the success, but rather it's sort of enhancing it, and it's sort of like
That's a
adding
good point. Yeah.
in its own like form. And I think that's like so cool. It's like fan art in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's definitely not something that like they think I did it.
Yeah.
So they're doing that sort of as inspiration, and it's like
That's a good
maybe
point.
that
Yeah.
people want. And I think that's like the perfect way to sort of be inspired by something and do something that's sort of additive rather than like subtractive.
So it's
Yeah.
enough of an artist or someone or an individual or a group of people doing their own thing with mixes of being inspired, whether it be color wise or whatever, by Olivia or any other set. But it'd be first recognizable as that artist, second
Right.
recognizable as you.
Right.
Okay.
Like if they,
That's a good
if they
point.
called it, like Olivia Artisans, and that was their brand,
Yeah.
and like they said like, oh, Olivia by Olivia Artisans, that would be a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's
It
like
probably exists across the sea. already.
Someone's already making that right now. They're like registering the company.
They're, like, writing all of this
this
down.
is a great idea.
I think that artisan keycaps are like probably the only thing, like the only item that could be like a complementative thing that, I don't know. I would say even if you're going to do an artisan, that people should always ask permission. I don't know like where you stand on that, but at least some sort of like, are you okay with this? Because again, like you've created such a popular colorway and almost like, I would say brand around it. And that it would, to me, outside looking in, like this is consumer and vendor. If someone's using a colorway or a name without permission, it seems like you would go back to like this wooden keycap that says hoo that someone is trying to target your audience that has like you've achieved success. And so I don't know, like I would think still ask permission no matter what peripheral it is.
Yeah, I think definitely the kind thing to do would be to ask permission. I think, yeah, colorways may not be like protected under trademark law, but at the same time, there's definitely a respect and like expectation of like how artists treat each other in the community, and no one would feel good if they got stolen from each other. So I
Can't trademark it, but it's more like a moral thing.
You know what
Yeah.
someone did to me, Olivia? I don't think I've ever talked about this, but you know that wallpaper engine thing on Steam?
oh no.
Someone took the Switch Swirl desk pad that I made, and they animated part of it, and then they put it on there, and they're like charging like $5 for it. And all they did was like add like some snowflake effects or some like lightning effects.
It's
And
not
it took
cool.
me so long to get that taken off of this like Steam, and I don't exactly know what happened with that. like if that person gets to keep all the profits they made, or like I don't really understand the whole Steam thing. But I will say that there is tons of like especially artwork that other artists do, like on, for example, Steam, that people like, will put some very, I'll use the word lazy animation on it and then slap a price tag on it. But it's an ongoing battle, and I think the best thing for anyone who's listening or anyone going forward to do is talk to people. Do what this person did on Reddit. And I think this person did the best thing possible. They did something for them, and they wanted to know how to reach out. There's literally nothing wrong with that person did. I think they did the exact right thing, was how do I contact this person to get permission? I think because the typeface is just literally identical, it becomes a lot more confusing.
And it also happens to be an enter key as well. So it's like
which
the
has
same
been
key that was used. Yeah.
So
that's
it's
very, very close.
Yeah. It's too close to home. But yeah,
Chandler.
very interesting discussion.
Chandler wants to design a keyboard inspired by your mustache.
I mean, you could, yeah. It's not really much to be
That would
inspired
be
by. There's many mustaches.
Cool.
I'm down for it, Chandler.
It could be ergo, because like this.
Oh my god, I can't type on Ergo.
Make it a fuzzy keyboard. Where
Ew. That's
Ew.
gross, dude. A fuzzy keyboard?
Each keyboard is Alex hair.
Oh god. Okay, guys, we're gonna stop the stream now. Who can go raid?
Raid before we get TOS'd.
Yeah. Let's go raid my friend Doomsday Gal. She's playing Genshin Impact. Let's go raid that person. I've never raided her before. We're gonna raid her.
Everybody look for the Odo Stash Alex layout fuzzy keyboard coming out soon.
All right,
Everyone,
guys.
do the Odo
Also,
stash.
No one's looking for that.
Also,
Thank you.
If Olivia, if people want updates from you on projects that you're working on in the future, where should they go?
They can follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
It's OF Briggs.
There you guys go.
Yes.
But thank you guys very much. Chozo created a command if you guys want to see some more stuff by Olivia, and then we'll post some stuff in the Discord. Thank you again, Olivia. Thank you, Reagan. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, everyone who's here. Let's go raid my friend Doomsday Gal. She's playing some Genshin Impact. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye, everybody.
Thank
Goodbye.
you, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.